Hey everyone, Couch Investor back to another video for you today. Hopefully you're all having a great weekend. Welcome back to another Tesla weekly recap video. If you missed last week one, it's going to be in the top right corner. So in this week we actually have quite positive news when it comes to some numbers out of China. I'm going to touch on 2-3 things from the Tesla 10Q at the end of this video. We're going to have a quick look at the highlight numbers for Ford and GM, and especially that agreement with Lithium Americas. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, would really appreciate that. Really helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to support me even further, you can always check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. And if you want, you can always join the channel members. It's down below. All right, so first things first here. We have a tweet here from Moneyball. So China NEV passenger vehicles in January insured units. So number one is BYD here with 110,518. Not surprising there. Number two is Tesla with 25,687. So, okay. Continuing on the China news here, we have Tesla sales of China-made electric vehicles are up 18% in January. So that's up 18% from December, when the US electric car makers sold 55,796 China-made vehicles and 10% higher versus January last year. So obviously these rumors about demand going through the roof after these price cuts, well, these are the numbers right now. Tesla sold 65,051 China-made electric vehicles in January. Then, out of China, we go to Germany. So Tesla sales up in Germany, 2.4% of German new car registrations in January. So the number of new Tesla vehicles registered in Germany rose in January by 912.2% from last year's figures to 4,241. Federal Motor Authority KBA reported on Friday, with Tesla cars making up 2.4% of all new registrations. Of course, with Berlin ramping up, 2023 promises to be an interesting year. And if you want a better overview from 2022 and now January 2023, this is the way it looks. Continuing here on the good news, and we have some good news with regards to the Inflation Reduction Act. So the IRS has increased the EV cap for the Model Y long range from $55,000 to $80,000. All Model Y vehicles with an MSRP of up to $80,000 in the United States are now eligible for the full $7,500 federal EV credit. So congrats to everyone that pushed for this. Then I like to grab your attention for this picture right here from Matthias Fons, great follow on Twitter. So US mega cap 2021 to 2022 net income growth. Can you see the outlier here? Oh, which one is this? It's Tesla. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now talking about 2023, of course, we want to hear more about where will Tesla's next Gigafactory be. We've heard rumors, we've heard Tesla Indonesia, which by the way we're going to talk about in just a bit because every week the president has something else to say there, but we have to talk about Mexico as well because the rumors with regards to Mexico are again all over the place. So Tesla considering plant near Mexico City's new airport, Mexican official says. Of course this is behind a paywall, but basically what they try to insinuate here, and to me it doesn't really make sense for Tesla to use shipment by air. It just doesn't make any sense, but maybe it's more using shipment by air not for the cars but for other things such as supply chain stuff, etc. Again, I don't know how true this is because we had more rumors about another location in Mexico. Until now we really have nothing confirmed. And before I move on, we have to have a look at the Cybertruck in the wild here. Of course, it will take a lot of time until we see a couple of Cybertrucks on the road, but it's already nice to see one like this in the wild. Of course, this looks like a I don't think it's really ready for production. This looks like another, I wouldn't say concept car because we've had that concept car for years already, but it's really nice to see one out there driving and probably grabbing a lot of attention. The back to me is just so ugly. The front is nice, the back is just ugly. Then as promised, exclusive President Jokowi confident Tesla will invest in Indonesia. Of course, why not? I mean, it's been rumored to be so for a couple of weeks now. So the president is confident Tesla will finalize a deal to invest in a production facility in his country, having offered the US car maker incentives ranging from tax breaks to a concession to mine nickel. The last thing here is pretty important, and if this deal is true, well, huge W for Tesla. And now let's talk a bit about GM and Ford. So I'm gonna go over here on my Substack. It's free to subscribe. Link is down in the description. You'll get every Saturday during the earnings season a quick recap and links to the transcripts and press releases from the companies that reported earnings during that week. So GM. Q4 non-GAAP earnings per share of $2.12, beat by 44 cents. Revenue of $43.11 billion, beat by 2.49 billion. Full year net income attributable to stockholder of $8.7 billion to $10.1 billion. That's for this year. Then EBIT adjusted of $10.5 to $12.5 billion, and earnings per share diluted and adjusted of $6 to $7 versus a consensus of $5.74. Now, of course, on paper, and of course, you've seen the highlights and the headlines as well, this looks okay. But if you look a bit deeper, maybe I'll do a separate video about Ford and GM. Well, you can clearly see that they are really professionals at showing us only the good stuff. But for those that actually look at the numbers and look at and make the connections between things, well, things aren't as good as they sound. Of course, they could be worse. So there is that, I guess. But then we also had this announcement right here. So under the agreement that GM and Lithium Americas are to develop a US source lithium production through $650 million equity investment and supply agreement. This represents the largest ever investment by an automaker to produce battery raw materials. Lithium Americas estimates the lithium extracted and processed from the project can support production of up to 1 million EVs per year. GMS secured all the battery materials we need to build more than 1 million EVs annually in North America in 2025, and our future production will increasingly draw from domestic resources like the site in Nevada, Thacker Pass in this case, we are developing with Lithium Americas. Direct sourcing critical EV raw materials and components from supplier in North America and free trade agreements countries helps make our supply chain more secure, helps us manage cell costs and create jobs. I agree 100%. I think this is great. Let's wait and see what GM does with this. Of course, I would have loved if Tesla could have had this as well, but I'm sure they have an agreement with another company already. Otherwise, they probably would have jumped on this for sure. Now, for those that are invested in Lithium America, the production at Thacker Pass is projected to begin in the second half of 2026. Now, circling back here to Ford, they announced Q4 non-GAAP earnings per share of 51 cents, that missed by 11 cents. Automotive revenue of $41.8 billion, that beat by $1.07 billion, and it's also up 18.4% year over year. Now, overall revenue was $44 billion, that's up 16.7% year over year. Now, the company anticipates full year 2023 adjusted EBIT of $9 to $11 billion and adjusted free cash flow of about $6 billion. They also still pay a dividend, I believe. Now, this was an interesting quote here from the CEO, which I think will do a great job with Ford in the long run, which certainly is not the case with other CEOs. So we should have done much better last year. We left about $2 billion in profits on the table that were within our control, and we're going to correct that with improved execution and performance. Of course, not a lot of CEOs would have said this during the earnings call, during an earnings report. So I'd say kudos to him, but then again, hopefully they don't repeat this mistake. And now lastly, with regards to Tesla's 10Q. First of all, with regards to the energy generation and storage, etc., if you have any friends, family, somebody you know that is a skilled electrician, I think he should be applying for a job there at Tesla Energy, because it does seem here that they're looking for skilled electrician to support the ramp of solar roof. Then when it comes to CapEx, so we currently expect our capital expenditures to be between $6 to $8 billion in 2023 and between $7 to $9 billion in each of the following 2 fiscal years. I mean, come on. When we talk about operating leverage and not overspending while still growing quite nicely, these projections here are pretty good. Then when it comes to Tesla using its cash quite nicely, we can see here interest income increased $241 million or 430%. This increase was primarily due to higher interest earned on our cash. So yes, having $20 billion or so in cash is quite nice, especially in the current market environment. Then when we talk about income, so where does that come from? The United States, China, or other locations? We can see domestically right now to 2022 is positive $5.52 billion, whereas in 2021 and in 2020 that was negative. Of course, right now ramping up Austin, so expect that number to increase. We've seen here foreign that has increased quite nicely over the years as well. But if you want to have a look at how fast the United States has increased from 2021 to 2022, I show you this right here. 2021, just under $24 billion. 2022, over $40 billion. Of course, in China, we have seen some nice growth as well. From 2020 to 2022, went from $6.66 billion to $18.1 billion. So, I mean, overall, the business is doing quite nice. We're going to see better numbers, of course, in Germany, in China, in the United States in 2023 and onwards. And though that's my recap for this week, of course, Tesla stock has started the year tremendously. Don't get caught up with this market because, well, sometimes it is irrational on the way down, but also sometimes on the way up. But overall, I do enjoy this type of environment, especially now during the earnings report. Sometimes you can get some opportunities here and there, not just with Tesla specifically, but with other companies as well. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comments below, specifically to Tesla, or maybe another company that you've been following throughout this earnings season. Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of videos and series, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.